So for you watching me right now, you've grown to this point, and right from your childhood, you at least know or have some memories about certain things that was happening to you right from childhood up till this age you are. But the one who created you, who planned that you would come to this world in the near future, had a great plan for you, that you would be a star. He planned this way before the world was even created. He knew when you were going to come into this world, and he knew the plans he had for you. But unfortunately, because of certain actions of certain people, the plans he had already established for you was bound not to come to pass. Why? Because he had certain laws that governed your coming. He had certain laws that governed your coming. So you were supposed to come right under certain people he had created. So in the beginning, Adam and Eve came out of God. Adam and Eve didn't necessarily need a parent to come. They were the very first people that, according to scriptures, were created by God, and they came out naturally by the ways of God, by the power of God, by the creation of God. They came directly out of God. And so, because it is God who created them directly, they had 100% of the nature of God until they sinned. So when they sinned, remember in our previous videos, we talked about the full nature of a man, and we said a man is first a spirit being with a soul, then this spirit being with a soul is encased in the man's body. So a man can never be active unless his spirit and his soul is active within the body. So when Adam and Eve sinned, everything about them became corrupted, including their spirits and their souls. And so everything that was bound to come out of them was supposed to be corrupted. Remember that God had made plans for how things were supposed to happen, and so he gave man his spirit, right? A spirit that came directly out of God into man, and then man was a perfect being until man sinned. So ideally, in the plan of God and every plan he had established way before man was created, his plan was that his 100% nature would be born in man, would be bettered in man directly into this world. And so every being that was supposed to be born was supposed to be born with 100% perfect nature of God, so that the established plan of God way before every man was born would come into pass in their lives. But unfortunately, because Adam and Eve sinned, their nature was corrupted. So everything that came out of Adam and Eve was corrupted. So you and I were first of all planned by God way before he created this world, that we would become stars in this kingdom, in this world. So if you're watching me and your name is Gerald, imagine Gerald was born with the 100% nature of God who created this earth. Gerald would have been a star on earth. But unfortunately, Gerald was born from parents whose nature was corrupted. Why? Because everyone that came out of Adam and Eve, the very first beings on this earth, had been corrupted. So Gerald, being born into this world, came with a corrupted nature. So the stardom of God that God had planned for him way before earth was created was already destroyed. So then God, in his own wisdom, didn't want this corruptible nature to continue. So by his love, he sent forth his spirit through his son, that everything should be laid upon his son, and then at the end of the day we would receive back into our spirits the great stardom of God. So it means that when everyone is born, everyone has the potential to become a star. So when you were born, when I was born, a star was risen, a star was shot. And so because the star was shot, the other corruptible nature that was found in Adam and Eve started chasing after us. So this is the corrupted nature that was found in you when you were born, because you came into the corrupt world. So we have pride, selfishness, rebellion, unbelief, fear, idolatry, self-love, hardness of heart, deceitfulness, forgetfulness of God, lying, slander, boasting, flattery, mockery, complaining or murmuring, cursing, foolish talking, blasphemy, idle words, quarreling words, harsh speech, deceitful promises, anger, bitterness, envy, jealousy, malice, hatred, vengefulness, resentment, harshness, impatience, anxiety, hopelessness, grief without hope, suspicion, evil imaginations, foolishness, vanity, lustful thoughts, covetous dreams, double-mindedness, scheming, pride of intellect, false wisdom, idleness of mind, imagining evil against others, stubbornness of thoughts, darkened understanding, futile reasoning, disobedience, self-will, stubbornness, rejection of God's authority, idolatrous choices, procrastination towards righteousness, carelessness with life, choosing friendship without the word of God, strife, rivalries, division, betrayal, treachery, brutality, abuse of authority, oppression of the weak, unforgiveness, favoritism or partiality, exploitation of others, stinginess, neglect of the needy, harsh judging, contention, discarding sowing, gluttony, drunkenness, fornication, adultery, homosexual acts, lusts, sensuality, incest, bestiality, prostitution, masturbation or uncleanness, porneia, drug abuse, false worship, idolatry of self or things, witchcraft, divination, necromancy, occult practices, false prophecy, religious hypocrisy, legalism, apostasy, loving of pleasure more than God, form of godliness without power, worshipping creation instead of God, laziness, carelessness, vanity of appearance, overconfidence in the flesh, discontentment, recklessness, foolhardiness, wastefulness, boastful independence, false humility, love of money, materialism, greed, slavery to fashion or trends, constant dissatisfaction, impulsiveness, and lack of discipline. So all these natures started chasing after you and got attracted to you the moment you were born. Why? Because instead of the stardom of God within you, you came corrupted. So all these things started attaching to you like a magnet. So as you grow without God or without Christ, these things will keep on chasing you and chasing you till you manifest them in your life. So you realize that all these things I mentioned, no one was supposed to teach you, or no one intentionally sat you down to teach you all these things. It was a nature that was part of you. From the moment you started growing up, it was chasing after you. It was part of you. It just came to you. You just realized that it is part of you. So then, to live a life away from this, you must first of all receive the life that God had already planned for you way before the beginning of this world. So then you receive now Christ's Spirit, who is the fullness of the nature of God, into your spirit. You believe in Him, you get born again, and then you receive Him. That God, I don't want to live a life like this anymore. I want to live the great nature of God, the star that you expect me to live. So after receiving God, then you intentionally, because remember, if God is now in your spirit, your soul, which is your mind, your emotions, and your will must be aligned to how the Spirit operates. So you intentionally pray, because the nature in you try to fight all these things. So you try to pray, you fight yourself to pray, you fight yourself to stay with the word. The more you do that, the more you are able to overcome any of the natures that I mentioned that is really manifesting in your life. The more you continually do it, the more your star keeps on brighten and brighten and brighten. And so what happens then now is that as you do this, you grow spiritually. That is, you manifest the divine nature of God in your life. In your soul, you prosper. How? You now begin to think like God, because God is the creator of the universe. God gave us His Spirit, so now we can operate like God, even with this body that He has given us. So in your mind, you have the wisdom of God, you have the knowledge of God, you have the character of God, you have everything concerning God in your mind, in your emotions, in your will, and then in your body, you manifest the true nature of God. Socially, people will now want to come closer to you because you can do things way beyond the things of the physical. Materially, to God is rich. God is very rich. So in your physical life, as you align with God, materially you will prosper. And so what you have to do is now find out the areas where the corrupted nature is really manifesting in you, and then be the star that God had already planned for your life way before the beginning of everything. And then you would truly manifest every great thing that God has planned for your life. Receive the Spirit of God and let your star truly shine onto others. God bless you. So this is Gerald, and Gerald was born to his wonderful parents, and so because Gerald was born to his wonderful parents, he carried everything directly from his parents rather than God. And because he was born with the corrupted nature, Gerald all of a sudden was so selfish, all of a sudden was so fearful about a lot of things. All of a sudden he forgot everything about God. He didn't even know anything about God. All of a sudden Gerald used to start lying. All of a sudden the people that he used to talk to, or the people that used to listen to him, were all lying. So where from the lies, where from the character of lying, where from the character of pride and selfishness. He had evil imaginations. All of a sudden Gerald was so angry about all of this. Where did the anger come from? No one sat down to taught him anger. How did anger come in? How did anxiety come in? Gerald had lustful thoughts. Gerald had evil imaginations about certain things. Gerald used to disobey as he was a child. He used to disobey instructions from his parents, his teachers. Gerald was found in fornication. Gerald was found in lust. Gerald was found in division, betrayal, brutality. Gerald had favoritism. Gerald used to exploit people. How did Gerald get all these things? And then at the end of the day, Gerald found God through his word. By the teachings of God, he stayed with God. He focused on God. He intentionally prayed, even if it was difficult to his senses, to his emotions. He still prayed, though he was lazy, though he was careless, though he was all doing that. But Gerald still found a way to be talking to God. He spent time with God. By the help of other people who had found God, Gerald came to understand whom God is, and he had a personal relationship with God. He received Christ into his spirit. He studied his word. He prayed to him, and he stayed there and did the same thing over and over again. With a few years' time, people now came to Gerald for counsel. People now came to Gerald for knowledge. And anytime they came and went back, people now came to Gerald for prayers. Anytime they came and went back, the people now began to enjoy their lives in peace and prosperity and wisdom and knowledge. They had every good thing that they needed for life right from Gerald. Why? Because Gerald became a star, became the star that God had planned for his life way before he was born. He finally brought it into life, and then he achieved it. Though Gerald was going through all the difficulties of the corrupted nature, he was able to overcome all those things by the help and the blessing of God. That is how every man is supposed to live. So I don't know what you are going through. I don't know the negative things that I mentioned that you are going through as a person. Naturally, you see yourself manifesting this nature in your life. It means that you have not renewed your mind, or you have not received the Spirit yet. So make sure you receive the Spirit of God. Make sure you align with His word if you've already received the Spirit, and then you would become the star that God planned for your life. You realize the star of the world, the stars of the world are just people who have exalted themselves, and then now the people under them are the products. But with the stardom of God, you will bring yourself down, you will exalt God, and God's ways will manifest through countless of ways and dimensions. See you in the next one.